Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. Allow me to give a massive introduction to the giant of Terran in the blue. It is HeroMarine, better known as Big Gabe, an unstoppable force, but potentially meeting an immovable object. In the top right is German countryman D. Mauer. The wall, Showtime, the stalwart Protoss known for defense and holding the line against a remarkable amount of aggression. A best-of-5 Terran versus Protoss. A matchup that used to be a staple of the European server, but the kids' table, Clem versus MaxPax, has kind of taken over a bit. But some things don't change. Some things like a Reaper being one of the most annoying things of the StarCraft 2 early game. The Zealot has to just weather it. The most annoying things, of course, probes. In general, just probes. End of line. Dark Zerglings, early Reapers, and YouTubers bothering you to like and subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we... What? 1,201 likes on this video, on this cast, on this series. I don't think it's going to be a short one. I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I would do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully these two are about to make it a little bit better. Reaper gets in, sees the Stargate, and then has permission to die. Showtime has, well, I would be the least bit surprised to see Stargate every game. While Blink Robo is the staple right now of Terran versus Protoss, the Stargate, when near perfectly controlled, I think still has a bit more potential. It has the ability to get in, get that constant scouting information. The only downside is if they kind of ever build a Widowmine or a couple Cyclones, and that's when things get a little more difficult. But, especially here on Radicid Station, we're starting things off. Air units reign supreme. It's almost impossible to actually attack via ground on those first three bases, including the back pocket base that Showtime's going for now, and HeroMarine almost implied that he's going for momentarily. Oracle comes in, but that should be enough Marines. The Adepts are doing some extra damage, trying to poke and prod. Showtime really edging that Oracle in for as much damage as possible, but HeroMarine so far has only lost, well, his heroic Marines, and the SCVs slightly grazed, somewhat singed, but still every single one of them remains alive. So an attempt at some early Oracle aggression is blocked by HeroMarine at relatively light cost. And now we have to move begrudgingly, it seems, into more advanced tech. Well, not it seems. Both players were already moving into the later game well before any of these early shenanigans went down. Now, Oracle comes in, gonna see and delay the factory, and very, very importantly, he's gonna see that third command center in the engineering bay. And that means Showtime knows he's got Stim, he's got +1 on the way. Showtime has Blink and +1 himself. Neither player is going to be able to really get much damage done on the ground. It's gonna be one of those games, I think, that unless some sort of drop or Warp Prism play gets an inordinate amount of damage done. And also, look at HeroMarine. He's taking the base out to the front. Honestly, I think that's a pretty smart move. There's no reason to bottle yourself up. It's almost certain that our bio player is going to be the aggressor. As Showtime going to be sitting back and building up a more complex unit composition. But actually taking that forward base, not bothering, no respect for the Oracles and whatever else is behind it. And you don't want to get... That is how, referencing the kind of baseline here, the control for Terran versus Protoss, which is Clem versus MaxPax. The times that MaxPax has been able to beat Clem on this map, it's difficult. It has been by bottling him up on 3 bases while MaxPax takes pretty much the rest of the map. So HeroMarine has circumvented that by simply expanding outwards first and making sure he has those units already in position to defend past the bottom of the ramp. We've already got the Robo Bay on the way. Oracles have been Kind of slipping and sliding around, getting a few SCVs there, a few SCVs in the main, but nothing remotely close to critical damage. Medevacs are completing. Stim and +1 is already done, whereas Blink and +1 Protoss ground weapons now completing as well. So both players getting that first level of tech. Showtime adding on the Robo-Bay. Got a Colossus in production. And a second Robo as well. So a single Marine is heading out. Actually manages... I like that. The positioning of the stasis means that it will be well positioned to scout. Did he notice? Oh my... Well, stop right there, criminal scum. I think if there are any Colossi, that stasis did enough. There's no Colossus yet. Showtime gonna take another base, trying to force the issue here. A scan will spot the army. Should see the Colossus stepping up in a moment. Honestly, Showtime may have jumped the gun just a bit. Loses an Oracle. The Nexus goes down. No cancel. The Colossus is not going to intimidate Big Gabe here, as he's got a massive concave. And he's happy to use it. There's only 3 Marauders left over. But Showtime maybe reached out a little bit too far. And HeroMarine gets a few big wins there. Though, if the Blink Stalkers can chase this down, and now the Marauders are so badly bruised, yeah, HeroMarine overstaying the welcome himself. Losing that Nexus and all 400 minerals, as well as all of it, by the way, every single sentry died. The force fields did little to, well, since sentries have less range than Marauders, the force fields don't do too much in the grand scheme of things to keep them alive. Well, this is not an ideal place to be loading up 4 medevacs. Oh my god, he's actually baiting it. Yep, the Blink Stalkers. He backed off and then blunked in, but that may cost him. He thought he could get it. Gets another medevac. Shield battery overcharge is going to help out a lot. But be careful what you wish for. Blunks over the top. Showtime tried to catch him as he jumped in, but 4 medevacs is a lot of bio, so HeroMarine will still do pretty significant damage. Unfortunately, not the Marauder. Now, oh my god, what's going on? So the force fields kind of sealing the deal there. Landing before HeroMarine realized the pathfinding of those Marauders was headed the wrong direction. But I gotta say, it didn't go as well as I thought it would. Going into that. That's gonna be a 4 Widow Mine drop loaded up. You already knew what it was, but I gotta justify my presence here by just pointing it out. It's like, Winter, I'm just listening to you in the background, and I honestly don't really watch that closely until it comes time to complain about Terran. It's like, well, here comes the Widow Mine drop, so get those comments all lined up. Medevac? I don't think he saw the Warp Prism. Dark Shrine on the way. Disruptor. The double D's of destruction. But Showtime, his vision. He knows the map is dark and full of Terran. So he lights it up however he can. Let's take a look at the Showtime. His vision isn't perfect, but he has enough around the perimeter of his base to be able to move into position in time, which is at least half the battle. Not having to use recall or scramble to warp in units is a big part of maintaining some semblance of control on the situation as Terran. I mean, as Protoss at this stage of the game. Widow Mine's dotting the field. HeroMarine, he's lining his perimeter at the pocket base with some turrets. The TPM raises. Showtime, he's got 4 Colossi, now adding in Ruptors. Past that, it does seem... Past 4 Colossi, you're just asking to get knocked down by Vikings. That does seem to be around the number that most players will prefer. Stasis, scan, spotted, taken out. Widow Mines, dealt with. Actually should spot the Dark Shrine via that. Oh, the Protoss army. This Nexus may not make it. HeroMarine doesn't know about it yet. Widow Mines are actually going to recharge. He does, of course, have an armory gun. In fact, HeroMarine has 2-2 working on 3-3. Cannons will be built. It looks like they'll finish just barely in time. It's going to pull back to deal with it. But at the same time, HeroMarine jumps the army. He's gonna try to get some extra damage done. A lot of Marauders in the army. Not enough overall here. Oh, the turret takes down the Prism. Fusion core is on the way. Very likely for advanced ballistics, but we can dream. And a oh, it looked like a Nexus, but just a gateway in that top left. EMP lands. Colossi starting to crumble, but the Disruptor shot is targeted at the last moment. The Vikings will knock down all of the Colossi, but the Bio Army was thinned out dramatically here. DT Blink is complete, and the DTs are starting to work on the 4th base. Both 4th bases under fire at the moment. Warping in a few more Zealots back home. The Disruptors are coming up. The DT's starting to get real damage. Disruptor shot lands center mass. And, well, both sides getting cleaned up at the 4th. HeroMarine's army. Medevac's nearly out of energy, but there's enough bio to still heal, which makes this attack a little bit more meaningful. Showtime. 22 SCVs, but he's cleaned up. Oh, and the Nexus! He saves it with the shield battery overcharge. And just barely. Showtime will get away with it. Overall, 77 to 67 workers. A massive slugfest of trades there. Both sides landing hits. Who comes out on top? If HeroMarine had gotten that Nexus, I would have declared him for what it's worth. I don't think this is going to judges, but I would have said he was the victor there. But he didn't get the Nexus. He ends up losing much of his, many of his Vikings, a bunch of Ghosts. Overall, though, Showtime is struggling to actually build the army composition to force HeroMarine entirely back into his base. Now, you gotta be careful, as if you build too many probes, the sheer army supply. The Disruptor costs 4 supply. So just having a half dozen of them is taking up a quarter of Showtime's army. Few charge lots headed in. No DTs this time. HeroMarine is trying to expand to that 10 o'clock position. Trying to get a little further out of his quadrant here. But the army in the front, the Ghosts, will cloak. EMPs, those are just gateway units. Without a Disruptor shot, the Bio Army can win that. But the Ghosts move back. The Fadeaway Ruptor is enough to ward Big Gabe's army back. The DTs looking for their opportunity. The planetary isn't even done. HeroMarine gonna start the fight. The DTs are moving in towards the planetary. And it gets eviscerated. All the command centers are canceled, and the planetary is killed. HeroMarine, though, has 122 to 100 army supply. He's got 3-3 to 3-2 right now. He's gonna try to pick a fight. And Showtime's not quite in position. The Liberator gonna be able to deal with all this. Blinks over the top. This is a very tenuous time, as HeroMarine is... he's lost a lot of his economy, but still has plenty of army. But a few Disruptor shots could certainly turn the tides as well. A War Prism makes it into the main. More SCVs will die. The Disruptors fires off a couple shots. Doesn't find the... well, actually gets some decent connections for sure. Turns it around as well. Another couple shots. He held on to so many. And just like that... oh, Jimmy, I want to see it one more time. HeroMarine coming in. Meanwhile, during all this, the DT slicing through. But HeroMarine decides it's time to go. The first volley. Ooh, a lot of Ghosts going down. Tries to target down the shield battery with overcharge. Gets a Disruptor on the left flank. But a lot of the Zealots get good surface area. Picks up and gets out, but... medevac, 13 medevacs. Not too many more than 13 bio units. You actually got to be careful of your own Disruptor shots at this stage. Another orbital nearly dead. Both players, you can tell it's a stressful game when every fight leaves them both at proportionally lower supply. We've been fighting near a max out, but now 146 to 157. HeroMarine still has a much larger army, as Showtime, of course, killed. How many SCVs? 64 SCVs so far. HeroMarine has been quite diligent about rebuilding them. Speaking of rebuilding, next sign for Showtime. Along the eastern front. 2 next side being built. Recalls out the Prism. Templar Archives on the way. Showtime mixing Colossus back into his army. There's so many. 11 medevacs here. Mass Liberator. Advanced Ballistics is done with +2 ship weapons. A very important upgrade. The +2 ship weapons allows you to two-shot Stalkers. And if they get EMP'd, a single shot. Advanced Ballistics, of course, gives them the range, which isn't necessarily more damage, but I mean, the ability to siege them up from so far away is obviously helpful. So, HeroMarine has pulled together another army, but he can't afford more damage at home. He's not going to be able to rebuild anything past this. The Liberators, but the EMPs, another Disruptor Valley doesn't find incredible connections. HeroMarine's starting to turn it around here. The Zealot's evaporating. Anything that doesn't get taken out or burnt to a crisp by extended thermal lance is going to be healed by the medevacs. The Ghosts. I don't know how many more EMPs are left in there. 1 or 2. Recharging up. The Liberators will re-siege. But the tie goes to the leader here. In Showtime right now. All he needs to do is wait HeroMarine out. Eventually, he's running out of minerals at the main, at the natural. Showtime has now been able to secure 2 more bases. Oh, now this, now that observer from earlier that saved the day may very well be able to do it again. Recall is on cooldown. He might be able to see it coming, but that doesn't necessarily mean he can stop it. The beachhead is covered by the Liberators. How many Disruptors? The Colossi are going to be dangerous. The Liberators don't give quite enough range here. He may just need to pick up and get out. He's going to get under the Liberators. Oh, the EMP tries to get one of the Colossi. The Disruptors, yeah, it's time to go. And you can't really blink under that. Meanwhile, Liberators, a Phoenix was built to deal with this. It's so annoying. HeroMarine trying to carve his way into the natural. Some Vikings going to be added to it. What a position here. He's trying to use the Nexus against him. The Robo-Bay makes him vulnerable as well. There is a Disruptor. A very badly hurt Disruptor there. Shield battery overcharge. Ghosts! Ghosts are just wandering in for the right flank. Disruptor shots he's forced to pick up. And the Vikings, the Ghosts are just fighting. And it's still unclear. HeroMarine loses a lot here. The Liberator's still trying to get damage done. Well, somebody... I don't know where that DT went, but I heard the DT. And Showtime has maintained his army here. The ship weapons really helping out. Liberators over the top. Disruptors? Well, a lot of HeroMarine's army supply is in medevacs. And until you can crash those medevacs into the ground and knock out the Protoss unit. Showtime. Wow. Showtime holds. After an arduous game. Well, it looked tenuous for a while. A difficult army to beat. HeroMarine finding and using the map. And even Showtime's own buildings against him. But at the end of the day, he kept his cool and was able to hold it together. Just the amount of the constant backstabs. That's really how you got to do it. You got to cut down the Terran economy and make it so each fight is more and more costly and harder to replace those units. And Showtime demonstrating that almost textbook style of Protoss. He never... I don't think Showtime really ever attacked with his main army. Like, the main brunt of the Protoss army barely ever even passed the halfway mark of the map. Which is kind of crazy to think about in hindsight. But we're on site Delta for game 2. A much more, leaves a lot more room for maneuvering. The Radjasset station. HeroMarine, now, I think also demonstrating the difference between Clem and everyone else. Clem versus Disruptors makes them look like deadweight. Whereas, while HeroMarine has some incredible micro and great planning, you can tell this is building up to saying, but it's not enough to dodge. You gotta dodge, duck, dip, dive, and maybe dodge again. And even then, the disruptors are deadly. Sometimes they just land. And that can decide it all. Double gas for HeroMarine. Not all out cheese, but getting his factory very quickly and then expanding. Reaper gonna use the Nexus. Play back and forth, play keep away with the Adept, which always an awkward say. Okay, can't catch me. Very Scooby-Doo-esque situation. Just getting his 1-1-1 out a lot quicker is HeroMarine. Opting for the quicker factory and starport from what you'd usually have with a 1-Rax expand. But nothing particularly dramatic. Probably the middle most standard build, though Terrans won't advertise it. Widowmine drop. Relatively cheap for a potentially devastating reward. Showtime is going to go Stargate yet again. Phoenixes are one of the most direct counters to said Widowmine drop, but they are another high-risk, high-reward sort of unit. If you're just slightly out of position, death. If you're on the other side of the map trying to kill SCVs, death. If you track down the medevac and pick up the Widowmines as they drop out, you'll probably be okay. So that will be the question here. The expansion timing is scouted. I think Showtime realized it's slightly delayed with that Phoenix there, meaning that, yeah, this is usually the Widowmine drop comes in around 4:30 to 4:45 or so. This is hitting a solid 30 seconds earlier. The Reaper is distracted, or the Reaper distracts the Phoenixes here. The mine drop will go off. And, well, one, he used one of those lifts on the Phoenixes. Might be able to target it down. Well, he saves the mine with the medevac, gets the other one. And, well, this is where we got to do that caster thing and say, but look at the mining time. And, yeah, it was pretty meaningful, but HeroMarine is down 10 workers now. And he got no probe kills. Loses a mine, loses a Reaper. So overall, not a resounding success for Big Gabe here. Meanwhile, Phoenix Colossus for Showtime. It's an old build, but it checks out. Technically, you cover everything in the sky and on the ground. There's a lot of ways to pick it apart, but if they get any momentum, it becomes nearly impossible to move out on the map, let alone fight. It is very bare bones. Up until you get at least a solid 3-base economy, though, because very simply, there's not going to be any gateway. He's got 2 gates, won't be adding any anytime soon. Not if he wants to continue building Colossi and Phoenixes. Though Showtime's only built 3 Phoenixes in total, so we may very well switch to just a more ground-based army. Anyways, extended thermal lance Raven, but the Raven is on the other side of the map, looking like an option to potentially backstab some probes. Yeah, HeroMarine is treating this like a more mass Phoenix style. So Showtime, and going for just a handful to box out things like the Raven, the Liberator, the Widowmine drop, may have gotten the better of him here, because building 3-4 turrets is definitely going to slow down. 1, this push. 2, the economy in general. The Colossi are already out. The Raven does not have interference matrix, and it's not even headed with the army. So I think Showtime has bamboozled him here. And with his sprint, yeah, adding some more Phoenixes now, just to deal with this. HeroMarine loading up 3 medevacs. The auto turrets at the natural. Take out a couple of depths, but the drop into the main. A recall right on top of everything here. And, oh no, the Colossus recalled onto the wrong side of the Nexus. A bit of a disaster. Another Colossus is stepping up. He targets down one of the Phoenixes. Gonna try to get out before the other ones are there. A bit of fancy footwork. Well, whatever passes for flight work for the medevacs. And ends up getting out with some more of the Marines. The recall. Oh my. Out of the frying pan directly into the middle of the firing line. Extended thermal lance is about to complete, but HeroMarine got even more than he bargained for, I think, there. Another drop tried for the main. Actually gonna get in. Targets down a Stalker. There's nothing to finish off that Marine. Put him down! Puts him down. Unfortunately, not enough HP to really kill the rest of the story. Oh! It's another Stalker. And more, oh, the revolt. It's raining back. Hallelujah. Oh my, there's more Marines into the main. The Colossus in a bit of an awkward spot, but the Widow Mine does manage to burrow 2 mines. 12 kills. And suddenly, well, not so suddenly, more like a tumble down a set of stairs. Showtime has lost the economic lead. He's lost multiple Colossi. He hasn't done any damage to Big Game on the other side of the map. His upgrades are non-existent. HeroMarine's kind of piecemeal drops here have done a number on Showtime. And that main weakness, the brittleness of the Phoenix Colossus strat, shown plain as day here. As there just simply weren't enough units to defend anywhere in particular, and HeroMarine abusing that by hitting what seems to be everywhere. And what would be a good setup if Marines and Marauders didn't have range? That's interesting. He's trying to quarantine units with those gateways at the natural. And that way maybe the Colossus can do more damage. It does kind of zone out his own units in that case. The sentries, the force fields, a mild suggestion to not come any further. HeroMarine does not respect it. It's just one Colossus trying to build more Phoenixes. But this is not a low economy army composition. This relies on being in control of the situation. And right now, Showtime simply is not. Look at the supply. 66 to 56 workers. 137 to 114 supply. 4 Vikings at a time for HeroMarine, who realizes he's running the risk of overcommitting and losing a critical mass of army. So he pulls back for now. But this is the kind of style I think HeroMarine needs to continue. Keep the aggression up. Don't let Showtime build the right army. Even if you have to go with a little bit less than you might want, it's certainly less than he has. Or, well, better than less than he... Anyway, Showtime didn't have enough units. That's what I'm trying to say here. The Vikings, there's not that much anti-air. The Phoenixes, the Vikings, he just ignores the Stalkers, flies right past, and that's it. The base drop hits too hard. And Showtime didn't even have enough energy for a recall. Wow. Just picked him apart. A solid turnaround for the biggest of games. He steps up to the plate, consumes the plate, and the entire quadrant. That's more like it. We got a series on our hands. After a bit of a false start in game 1, Big Game has warmed up. Which brings us to game number 3 on Hecate. I'm excited. All tied up in this Deutschland duel. I don't think Showtime's gonna be too unhappy about it, though. Like, that is a strategy. That's one of those cards that you pull out of the deck. It is hard to have a full set of strategies as a more macro-oriented Protoss. As Protoss strategies, by definition, are quite a commitment. Getting a Stargate and a Robo Bay early on, that's a huge amount of SP and gas. that you need to invest. And if they're not allocated perfectly, or you just caught a little off guard, very simply, it falls apart. But now that he's kind of put that on the board, HeroMarine has to respect the potential. He now knows that Showtime is willing and able to go for that Phoenix Colossus strat. He's going to be on the lookout for it. Oh. Adept shades directly into the Reaper. Very awkward bump in the street before they pull their guns on each other. What passes for it? Triple CC for HeroMarine. Does he have any units at the... Well, the Reaper's gonna get into the main. Okay, well, this is... Awkward is maybe a bit of an understatement. So the Reaper is gonna get at least a couple probe kills here. But at the same time, his command center... Oh, doesn't get the second one! And he may actually lose the Reaper, which would be a bit devastating. A bit devastating, doesn't really make any sense, but... Well, 2 Adepts might actually be able to kill. Yeah, well, this is the big weakness. He went 3cc with no bunker. Showtime, instead of coming back with the Adept to defend the Reaper, decided to go try to delay the command center, which is a bit risky, because if you don't pull it off, well, then you're probably going to lose a probe, 2, maybe more, back at home. But now, I think it's paid off already. That delay on the command center was significant. And even though HeroMarine's going to have 3, that's a lot less SCVs he's working with right now. And there's just not enough, like, 2 Marines does not beat a Stalker and an Adept. The SCV's losing SCVs. It's losing Marines. Showtime decided to start the aggression early here. And while it is, this is like the... This is so Showtime. It's like, well, I will be aggressive. Sends out 3 units. Like, all right, I did it. Yeah, he did. I've calculated this to be the greatest reward for the amount of risk involved. And you know what? That calculation was near perfect. Showtime is now dictating the pace of this game. Just keeps trickling out Stalkers across the map. Blink is almost done. And this is just straight up bio here out of HeroMarine. A bit of a bold move. Oh, the Marauder gonna turn things around, doing a lot of damage to the Stalkers. But with a Warp Prism, does he have 4 gates? Going up to 4 gates. Gonna fight the Marauders here, trying to juggle the shields. Not doing a perfect job. Gets the Marauder, though. If he can delay the bunker until Blink is done. It doesn't need to, but... Oh, a single Marine goes across. Oh, these two just dueling right now. And on seeing no third, HeroMarine thought about adding on another bunker. And in fact, that first fades away with the blinks. And it should be completed, but the second bunker is kind of important here. Blink, Stim is not done. Stim is not done. He blinks and he gets the Marauder. Showtime, continuing. He's just a half step ahead of HeroMarine here. Big Gabe has a lot of inertia, and right now it's working against him. A stressful time. Showtime doesn't have a ton. He's at 42 probes. He's really committing to this. Gonna try to fight the bunker heads up. The Stalker's looking to burn through, just targeting the Marauder on the back line. It's tenuous right now. He has not been building probes. He's got a Robo-Bay behind. Showtime actually a bit supply blocked. The Warp Prism could be used for some high ground vision to potentially blink up. Oh, HeroMarine only repairing with 1 SCV. Will lose a bunker, but another Stalker goes down. And it's becoming quite costly for Showtime here. Against a bio-army, he's gonna need that Colossus desperately. It's becoming quite costly. Okay, well, he's lost 3 Stalkers. I really thought it was like 5 or 6, but I'm not here to count, all right? The only thing we count here are likes and subscribes. Colossus on the way. Charge in production. And now some probes as well. Showtime does have 4 gates, which Not great, not terrible when it comes to this stage of production. Meanwhile, HeroMarine, does he even have a factory? He does, and a starport. Okay. Though, somebody should tell him that. Hey, it looks like he's gonna flip it over now. And start that medevac production. No, a little offset. He adjusts. Observer spots the attempt at a third. And I think that's enough bio. So Showtime has, instead of going on the heavy tech route, really focused on the unit composition. He even cut his economy here pretty significantly in order to get Colossi behind the blink aggression. The first Colossus is spotted by the scan. And so far, Showtime is able to maintain map control with these blink stalkers. But as the medevacs come out, that's when HeroMarine can, you know, heal up some of those pokes and prods. Small bio army, charge +1 infantry weapons. That observer is perfect. He saw the rest of the army move out as well. Showtime is in position back at home. He's adding some spy lines to keep track of things. Charge lots. Well, yes, charge lots. Warped in and loaded into the prism. Headed for the main. Gonna try to time this out. There is a turret there, but HeroMarine doesn't quite have the army in position. Gonna blank over to the right flank and drop the charge lots in the main. Showtime taking advantage of that information on both fronts. And the charge lot count is high enough here. And he's gonna force the micro back. HeroMarine may very well lose some SCVs. He's gonna kill a few more Marauders, juggles back a couple. Vikings come out to deal with the prism. Don't waste the recall. Okay. 10 SCVs down. Not a critical number, and HeroMarine was zoned out of the map by the Blink Stalkers and the Colossi. He moved the Observer deep into the base, just barely out of turret range here. Though he is adjusting slightly. I don't know if HeroMarine knows there is an Observer around. I don't know if he saw exactly where. Charge lots heading in towards the natural. Vikings really growing in number, and it looks like the next fight will be a decisive one. It's going to be Viking Marauder, almost purely. 17 Marauders, 24 Marines, so almost double supply of Marauders. 9 Vikings building 4 at a time. Showtime has 3 Colossi and is now mixing in Disruptors. Armory is just now on the way. You can really tell these more unit composition-based battles by the upgrades. We're 10 minutes in, only have 1 upgrade on either side. Showtime now adding on +2 and +1 armor. HeroMarine just +1 attack. He's relying on the strength of the individual units rather than overall. EMP. Gets a good EMP on the sentries as well. There is a Guardian Shield. Disruptors. Showtime trying to... he's waiting out as much as he can. The longer this goes on, the better it is for him. More than likely. As he builds up more Raptors, he's got 2 upgrades on the way. The Colossi getting okay hits. Disruptor shot at the right flank just gets a huge connection. Takes out that entire side, but a Disruptor kills a couple of the sentries. Kills a couple of the Zealots, and the sentries will be targeted down as well. The Colossi were knocked down by the Vikings, and the Vikings themselves now hit the deck. And Vikings on the ground. Down goes the Nexus. There's not that much left over. The Disruptor's gonna target down 1, gonna target down 2, 3, 4. Every single one. Is there enough damage behind? More EMPs. But HeroMarine, his medevacs are actually out of energy. Bit of an awkward fight. Disruptor doesn't find enough. HeroMarine's turning it all the way around. And Showtime, he tried to take a careful fight. And he got a couple connections, but the bio army is just too strong. The medevacs are completely out of energy. And that's the only reason HeroMarine eventually gets forced to pick up and turn around. Showtime did expand to the north. He's got +2 done. But HeroMarine with a resounding victory in that battle. Ends up killing not that much more in the way of resources. But overall, getting 6 disruptors and 3 colossi. Showtime also killed a couple zealots in there. Those are units that are not easy to replace. He has 2 robos, whereas Marines and Marauders, even Vikings, I mean, reactors exist. So, and there are plenty of barracks out there. Showtime, he can't afford another fight like that. HeroMarine now has a 4th. The upgrade advantage is pretty significant here, especially in any... Ooh, HeroMarine sends out a double drop, but with nothing to really cover for it, there's nothing stopping Showtime from just knocking it down. So we might be a bit out of position to deal with the army over to the right flank. Showtime trying to split the difference. His army's in the middle of the map right now. But the halfway to nowhere is still nowhere at all. The disruptors, he needs those connections. HeroMarine. Oh, tries to pop a Ruptor or 2. 3 shots go out. He clips some of the Vikings on the ground. Bit of an awkward fight here for sure. Charge lots working around the corner, has to stim again. The Stalkers can't really blink too far forward to risk getting pummeled by the Marauders. +2 attack about to complete. HeroMarine drawing those upgrades even. Has not been able to find another decisive engagement. Showtime now working on +3, +2. He's rebuilt the probe count. Both players near 200 supply. Showtime. Does he have any flavors of Templar? No. No DTs, no High Templar. Not that they would necessarily serve him well, just kind of checking. The Vikings, that 1 Colossus, gonna have a tough day here. Stalkers, but a disruptor shot. Actually finds an okay connection there. HeroMarine, but on the bridge! The Viking needs to be targeted so badly right now. He gets the shot off, but wait! Showtime is surrounding HeroMarine. What a fight! This is kind of all piled in. And it ends up being Showtime who gets the better of him, at least for now. HeroMarine didn't have enough army. Showtime brought everything to bear, and even though he lost the Prism, the brave sentry. Oh my, but the charge lot swarm being added in. The bio army still going to work over to the left flank. It's now 2-2 versus 2-1. Disruptor shots, point blank range, full salvo. And gets some connections. 15 SCVs down. The Marauders plus Medevacs, quite a wombo combo. Charge slots closing in. No more energy on these Medevacs. Showtime still holding. He kills 21 SCVs. Here come the Medevacs back home, and HeroMarine cleans things up. 21 SCVs down, though. Dead even supplies. 2 Colossi at a time. Showtime doing a great job of recognizing kind of the casualties in the fights. He's killed 26 Vikings. There's only 1 on the field. He's rebuilding Colossi now because he knows the bio army is more than likely enough to deal with a handful of disruptors. But rebuilding the Colossi, I think the right call, but the EMP onto the Nexus. Make sure no recall potential, and you know, it just knocks out some shields. That bio army still so tough to deal with the Colossi. Rebuilt. But +2, +1 on the ground. 3-2 for Showtime. 2 upgraded Ven. There's still that 1 Dream Ruptor. He's holding. Honestly, it's probably more valuable not even firing a shot rather than trying to waste it. But the Colossi are being rebuilt as the Vikings. But HeroMarine does not have ship weapons this time around. He hasn't... Well, he's rebuilding SCVs now. What? Wow. Big Gibbs, big production line. That main base, beautiful. Nice little spread. Honestly, a great funnel for charge lots and such in the main, too. I'm going to get... Even if it isn't intentional, it's pretty intentional, I think. But that is a perfect set of choke points. The alleyways to gun down charge lots without getting your army too bottled up. HeroMarine. The income, Showtime again. Out ahead. Army supplies, in general, have gone towards Big Gabe throughout most of this. And they will continue to do so, even up to 200 at the current time. Showtime has 20 more workers at the moment. The Vikings. Showtime still. No Templar of any kind. Ghost just too much. So, okay, sorry. Alright, Dark Shrine on the way. Oh, HeroMarine's army loses a couple medevacs. The force fields. Ooh, just lines them up and knocks them down with the Ruptors. I think he killed 3 of his own zealots to finish him off. They'll expect some of us in the wreckage, brothers. But, and not a critical blow by any means, as HeroMarine can easily rebuild that. Just a bit of an awkward fight. A battle will continue across the board. Showtime. His army moving in. Does he have recall? Yes, but there's not very much energy here. We're going into something of a base trade. Planetary is already dead. Dark Shrine is on the way. HeroMarine may end up giving up 2 bases for just the 1, which doesn't seem like a great trade overall. Yeah, HeroMarine moving back most of his army to deal with this. Showtime, of course, aware of it. HeroMarine only got +3 infantry weapons. Didn't end up with the armor upgrade. Moving in now. There's not enough energy for the recall, and it's too late to do it. It looks like he'll get it. Vikings knock down a Colossus. Where are the Ruptors? He fires a shot, and then he realizes the Ruptor is way too far back. And he tries... Well, he almost Dick Cheney'd it there. All right. Vikings looking for an angle. HeroMarine still has a huge army. Observer will see the vast majority of it. Big Gabe's massive army. Looking to shove it wherever Showtime is weakest. But bleeding out some more units over to the right. There aren't enough medevacs to ferry all the units into the main. Though he's definitely thinking about it. There's a Dark Templar right on top of the army that's been going to work. The most obvious move is the one HeroMarine will make. And I think he realizes he's telegraphed that maybe a bit too much. The Dark Templar trickling out just to try to force out the scans. There are only 2 orbitals. He has to use an EMP to reveal the DT. Oh, more medevacs going down. HeroMarine, again, he's down to 34 SCVs. But again, his army is just massive. Full broadside! Half a dozen Ruptors! And chunks up a whole bunch of the army simultaneously. But is there enough left over? 1 or 2 Disruptor shots ready. Micros forward. Disruptor connects with the back line. But more are going to be taken down. More Disruptors at point blank. And I can't really tell who's winning this fight. HeroMarine actually manages to circumvent most of the Disruptor hits and win the battle. Reinforcements are on the way, though. There's a couple cannons, there's some DTs. Showtime just needs to buy time to show HeroMarine he has what it takes, but Big Game is pressing the point home. The medevacs are nearly out of energy, which again may be the deciding characteristic. HeroMarine, the Disruptor's at the back. He fires, and he connects, and that's most of HeroMarine's army, and again it's just medevacs, and again half a dozen zealots go down to Showtime. Wait, oh, he only killed 1. GG! Showtime holds! Oh, by his non-existent Protoss teeth. Yet again. He undercuts HeroMarine's army. And manages... What? 149 zealots. Oh my. 92 Marauders. But HeroMarine not quite able to mitigate the damage back at home. And that's the real issue at the end of the day. If you're not able to stop him from stabbing you in the back, you're not going to be able to concentrate all your time on slapping him in the front. That could have been phrased better. But that brings D Mawa up to match point. Showtime. Well, the wall, a flexible, multi-layered defense. Not a... Well, if you don't bend, you break. Especially against a Terran player like HeroMarine. So Showtime understanding that. And that'll put him up to a 2-1 lead. But, oh wow. Feels like all these games but Sight Delta could have, like, this could have been 3-0 HeroMarine. With just a few seconds in a different direction. I don't know if we've been spoiled or ruined by Clem versus MaxPax. Because with Clem's disruptor dodges and MaxPax's pixel perfect micro, compared to both these players are clearly more macro oriented. Not that either of them have bad micro, especially look at the start of that last game, that was incredible. But they're both looking to take more bases and build more units, as opposed to winning with the units on the board right now. Clem versus MaxPax has given us an unrealistic expectation of how TVP is supposed to go. On both sides. This is the brutal slugfest that I'm used to, and I'm excited to get back to. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. Well, there could be another hour, so... I'm sorry. It's 2 Reapers. I've seen something like this before, but... Was there a probe scout? Showtime doing a no-scout Protoss and another Stargate. Last game was the only non-Stargate game so far. Back to it with that early aggression. Reaper Hellion. This is a TVT build. Reapers? Oh, he's pretending. Wait, is he pretending? Yes. The Hellion will be spotted. Does he commit it? No. I think... Therefore I... Showtime has figured this out. I mean, he saw the Hellion, but he's coming back with the Adept. It's a very blurred line how far you can go with the Adept. I'm not just talking about the Shade. Oh. Hellion Reaper. But there's a shield battery. This works in TVT. I don't know, Kev. Well, he starts a robo. It's dangerous. He's gonna go up the Reaper, spots the Stargate. If he stays around too long, then, well, it's a bit of an awkward combo, having the Phoenixes with the Adepts, as of course Adepts can't shoot up. I do love the dropping it in the midst of them strat, but... So HeroMarine's attempt at catching those early gateway units falls a little flat here. But thankfully did keep all the units alive, and that's the key point so far. This still very much could be dangerous to Showtime. These are surprisingly effective units in small numbers. If Showtime tries to take a third too early, he strays too far away from his shield battery, or he ends up losing a Phoenix or two. Disaster. Cyclone. Here comes the medevac as well. Offering some more potential. Well, this is gonna get interesting. Another clone in there. Pops out. Showtime, that's too much. Gonna try to use the Reaper wall maybe, but the Immortal. That robo he dropped near immediately. Gonna pay off. The Immortal is a huge deal here. Oh, he's gonna be able to delay the Stargate. Depowers the main base, including the Stargate and one of the gateways. And this is a supply. Oh wait, and now the Reapers can get in because there's no more Reaper wall. What a play. Well, the Phoenixes realized that immediately though. Here comes a Viking. Reapers are getting picked apart. The Immortal. So, this was A dramatic, convoluted, drawn-out way of throwing all your units away. It could have been a contender, but Showtime just picks it apart, brings it up, and knocks it down. Showtime just dismantles every bit of that. He lost 1 Phoenix, 3 Adepts, couple Pylons for out. All HeroMarine has now is Marines. He's got 10 Marines. Those have got to be some of the most heroic Marines that Big Gabe has ever had. I mean, nothing here is a particular counter to Marines, but there's enough stuff in general to keep them at bay. There's no Medevacs and Marauders on the way. Showtime, not gonna risk it. If he ends up losing some Phoenixes or even the Immortal now, then he can maybe be reset back to, maybe not square zero, but like 1.5. The Colossus on the way. But I guess a key point here. Showtime was not able to get his 3rd base in a very timely manner. Marines catch a Phoenix. So that means not a huge economy, not a big advantage. The economy for Showtime. Just unit composition for now. Of course, if you use it right, that translates into economy by allowing you to defend more easily. The double drop is heading out. A risky move, but it very much could pay off. 2 Medevacs worth of units is definitely enough to do terrible, terrible damage to a Protoss who has a very piecemeal army like this. More Medevacs on the way. The Phoenixes are spotted. They spot each other. Another Medevac. 2nd Colossus. An extended thermal lance completing. 3rd command center is on the way for Big Gabe here. Massive drop. 4 Medevacs into the natural. Showtime is already there. Alright, he's got a Colossus holding in each base. He's got the Phoenixes zoning out. HeroMarine isn't all in right now. He scans for an observer. Showtime is just spread between these bait. Oh my god. Sink or swim, I guess. Here we go. He's just gonna drop everything. He's like, how about 6 Medevacs? Aha! Twirls mustache. Well, goes for it. There goes the shield battery. The Phoenixes are coming in. Widowmine finds a good connection. The Phoenixes are going to soften this up. 1 Medevac goes down. Another one going to be chased. Taken out. I think HeroMarine actually, he ends up doing a little better there. And he got 5 probes, which draws the worker count even. He scans again. I don't know if he saw the observer in this corner. Another Widowmine gonna burrow. Does he have an armory? No. Just now starting. A Ghost Academy as well. HeroMarine does have the supply lead. Unlucky probe. Mine. Backs off immediately. He knows the armory isn't done. Gonna try to catch any units to rebuild here. HeroMarine smells opportunity. Another probe dead. Showtime in a very, he's focused so much on making sure he can defend. His economy is starting to get outstripped by HeroMarine here. But, microing back the Widowmines, softening up a lot of the charge lots. Phoenixes pick up some of the Marauders, trying to chase things down. Another Widowmine will burrow. Showtime picks this apart for now. Another step. HeroMarine waiting for any units left on their own. Showtime has decided it's time to go. 3 3 Colossi. How many Vikings? 3 Vikings. 4 Phoenixes, though. And now Templar. Archons. Could be a devastating choice. The Bio Army, there's 3 Immortals underneath. Easy to overlook with the Colossi over top of them. But those 3 Immortals are a lot of damage against Marauders. And of course, the Colossi not bad against Marines. And the Force Fields actually lock him entirely out of the base. He's very likely going to have to cancel. That commence. Oh, the Charge Lots! Oh, the Widow Mines killed 6 SCVs. Charge Lots and Widow Mines. Combination effort. Blink done. And HeroMarine now bottled up in his base. Showtime supply. Now the Archons eat the EMPs, but there's a lot behind. The Phoenixes are coming in. Looking to cut down the Vikings. The boys are pulled. The command center is lifted. There's still an Archon, but GG! Showtime.
Hell, it's about time.
Showtime holds. And pushes back. And this time, the most decisive... I think that was the first major fight that Showtime won. I mean, the fight that he took to HeroMarine there. Not just, like, undercut the economy and survived. So a fitting and decisive end. An exhausting best-of-5. But I think Showtime held the line admirably. A strong effort, big game, dangerous at all times. It seems like he's everywhere at once. But that might just be his physique. I hope you enjoyed this stressful series. I hope I made your day a little bit better. If you got the means of motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership on that. Either way, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Make sure autoplays on the right video. That actually helps a lot. If you click on the recommended. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.